back to the Reflection Podcast. I am your host, Nylon Rodriguez, and today I am here with my co-host, Mary Alice Rycourt.
So today we're going to be discussing how our jobs in high school affected us.
I started working really young. I started my sophomore year before I was supposed to, technically.
Okay, yeah, I started around the same time. My first job was actually Marshall's. So yeah, tell me about your first experience with your job.
So my first and only experience with the job, because I started this job sophomore year and I went through with it all the way until the summer before college. Basically, I was an after-school counselor, and then I kind of moved into being an ESL teacher for students that had just immigrated from other countries. And it was a heavy job to deal with. It was a lot, especially with, the language barriers between other kids, so they weren't necessarily getting the help that they needed in school. So I took on the role, basically, of becoming another teacher for these students.
Okay.
How was your experience? Where did you work? What did you do?
Okay, so my first job, as I said, was Marshall's. I was a floor associate. I would clean up clothing, and I would normally work the night shift right before closing. I would make sure all the aisles were clean. So my schedule looked like I would work from 4 to 11 normally right after school. And then my second job, my most recent job, was actually Taco Bell. I was a drive-thru associate. I would take orders and just work really close with my manager and my staff, make sure all the orders were made properly. I also worked around the similar hours, 4 to 11, right after school. It was really heavy because I was also balancing a sport that I will be playing in college now. And so yeah, I'm gonna ask you, how do you think this job affected you when it came to school?
So I would say that because of how much pressure I felt like I was under in being somebody's teacher when I was still being taught, I definitely fell behind in school. I would spend so much time lesson planning on what I would be teaching my kids for the week that I would push aside my homework until it was overdue or just not able to be accepted by my teachers anymore. So I really started to fall behind and kind of had to reassess my priorities. And I know you said you worked from 4 to 11, so how did that time frame affect you?
Okay, so 4 to 11, it was kind of rough. It was really rough because then I would get home at 11. Well, I would leave work at 11, get home 11:30. Then I would have to do my homework to then get up at 6. Balancing sophomore year, I was balancing 3 AP classes, and senior year, I was balancing 4. It was probably one of the most difficult things I did. I was also doing a sport in school and out of school. I definitely fell back in everything. My sports, I would push practices because I had to go to work. School, I would push assignments because I either had practice or I had to go to work, or I didn't have time or I was too tired. But I needed to work. It was how I made my living. It was how I helped my family. It was how we just survived.
Yeah, I was just about to get into that. I was working as well because I needed to, and I feel like that goes into the conversation of kids having to work earlier than they used to have to because of the economy and just getting to school. Are you planning to work throughout college?
Yes, so I plan on doing work study while also balancing a part-time job. I'm also a college athlete and a biology pre-med major, so there's a lot balancing on my plate right now. But I feel like a job's always what I'm used to, what I know. I know that I need a job. What about you?
So I'm lucky enough not to be working during my 4 years of college, but God, I can't imagine having to balance everything you do so fast, so quickly, and in school nonetheless.
But yeah, I mean, it's just what it always has been. But as you were saying before, a lot of our youth is working now. a lot of our youth has to work or help their parents or support. There's a lot of single parents out there that they make their kids help them in a sense. And with a lot of first gen and incoming freshmen, they have to find a way to pay their tuition because their parents can't.
We're both actually first gen students of immigrant parents, and we'll actually be digging into that in our next episode with an admissions counselor from Montclair State University. So tune in next week.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.